always up for having a go. But talking about Swagvicious, I kind of want to move into how they got to be where they are right now. Imperial came into our pre-season fairly late in the season. They had one team that they fielded at the time. Um, as the new freshers came in, we had another team coming from from Imperial called Swagvicious, which were technically the second team, or so you'd say fielded as the B team for Imperial, as I don't think they were quite sure how they performed against the sort of fairly decent performance that Imperial's A team put in. Um, but if they actually faced the Imperial A team, scarred for life, in our first round of our qualification tournament and ended up beating them and then going on to qualify for the Super 8. So they did really well. And then coming into our Super 8, they won 3-0 last week.
Yeah, it definitely is one of the stronger teams, and they weren't actually seen as being the strongest team coming into the tournament, but they really did show their stars and stripes, if you would call it that, and and really do smack down on the other teams. And it's been really interesting to see just how what they thought was going to be the strongest team it ends up being a 3-0 team in the first week of the group stages, and we could possibly see a 6-0 from them this week. Uh, so it's very interesting to see as to what's going to happen in this game. So we are
Yeah,
going to get into the game now, I
and
believe.
considering how well, yes, considering how well Stafford played last game, they did hold their own against Manchester, our first seed. But obviously, Swagvicious have performed slightly better in terms of results than Manchester. In fact, I think Manchester's only defeat last week was to Swagvicious, and Swag won this week against Cardiff, so they're now 4-0. So again, they could completely wipe the floor with this group, and that'll be showing how strong they are as a team unit right now. And I think two of the members, in fact, three of the members on. Do you know what? Four of the members on Swagvicious actually already know each other previously. Um, I think on 9ZI, Kid Flare, Frit, and Loxy are all quite good friends, if far as I'm aware. And I think they've actually been practicing for much longer than they've been in this university team. So they've really got a good team synergy going on. And I've seen some of them play beforehand. I know a guy called the Baby Squid. He used to play with Kid Flares, Ifrit, I think, on Z9, and they've all have a good synergy together. You know, they know how each other works. They have that good level of communication that a team needs. But we're into picks and bans phase, guys, so we'll stop chatting about this kind of thing. And again, Riven has been banned out against Laziki. Fizz coming out, Casting going down as well. Two very popular mid lane bans right now. Vi being banned out against Staffs. They probably didn't want to see that in the jungle again. Vi did quite well last game, as far as I was aware.
So what we're going to actually see is Riven being banned yet again against Loki in the top lane. As I said before, he is known to play Riven, but that's in threes ladders. It's quite normal to see him play Riven in fives, although he is primarily a Riven main, it seems. Jack's going to be picked up for that top lane. That's a statement right there. They
Yeah,
are not scared.
yeah, after that last game, obviously were completely crushed by a Jax who even went behind. Maybe they're just thinking that they can perform to the same sort of level that the Jax did on Manchester. So Quarren, obviously extremely skilled. Staff's probably trying to try their luck with it because obviously, if Jax does get ahead in lane, he can snowball hard. If he goes behind and they sort of play the game out, much like the last game was played, he can still come in and be a really big force to be reckoned with. Jarvan being first picked over on the side of Swagvicious, and Lee Sin also being picked up there. So that could be either a Lee Sin mid lane or a Lee Sin top lane. I think Luckeezy is quite versatile with his champs pool, and I think Lee Sin is maybe one of his favourites. Again, though, Jarvan, a very popular jungle who's often banned out or first picked on either team. He has that ability to really dominate the early game with his Damascene Standard into Dragon Strike combo. And once he gets Cataclysm, can really single out members in ganks and in team fights. And he's got quite good area of effect sort of control that Cataclysm provides. The bot lane actually being shown for Staffs right now. He's picking up the Ezreal and they're taking the Thresh away as well. That's a very potent bot lane.
Yeah, looking at the bottom lane, having a Thresh and an Ezreal to synergize quite well. They have a lot of harass, and when it comes to having an engagement, as soon as Thresh hooks on and uses the box, Ezreal does be able to use his ultimate across the bottom lane. Do you see Sona and possibly Caitlyn getting picked up? So it is going to be quite even in the bottom lane. Sona is going to have a lot of sustain. Kate does have the poke damage with Sona's aura and her headshots, so there is going to be a lot of damage coming from both sides. Uh, yeah, right there. Caitlyn is going to be getting picked up and most likely going to be using Cleanse, which is a very good pickup against the box because it means it completely nullifies the slow from the box, which is in fact a 99% slow.
Yeah,
So
it's
good
yeah.
pickup.
Also, you can cleanse the chain as well. So really good pickup from the Caitlyn right there. The chain is now can be cleansed and broken, so that Thresh can no longer jump to you, even if you do opt to use that. Um, what I was just going to pick up on here, guys, is that we will change the top stream overlays. Staffs is in the right position, of course. Manchester it will be changed to Swagvicious when we can get onto it. That will be done as soon as possible. It does look like Nautilus is being hovered over here, and Ziggs. Now, Ziggs is one of those champions that I actually had a suffering against in Liverpool, but it's being switched over to Oriana, which is probably more of a safe pick and has the better team fight potential as well. Nautilus being locked in, so he's going to go for the early sort of ganking presence that he wants to try and match the one that Jarvan can provide. So obviously with that hook he has and the passive, which does root someone for 0.5 seconds, he has that potential to have many forms of CC early on in the game. With the slow, with the pull, and his ultimate, and his passive, he has the most CC of any champion in the game. Oriana going with teleport, maybe he's switching to ignite later on, I don't know, but Gragas is being picked up for Kid Flores, and we know he loves Gragas. He really formed him in the qualification tournament, and I'm really excited to see how he plays up against this Oriana. Yeah, and I just wanted to pick up, guys, Jorfess on Thresh. He was very, very Edward-like on his Lulu last game, taking all the kills, going really deep with his harassive. If he was that good on Lulu, we're hoping to see him perform similarly and really sort of get a lot of action in that bot lane. But Sona and Caitlyn is a good pickup versus that bot lane. He has the range and the poke to sort of get the Thresh low enough that he doesn't want to engage. And to be honest, Caitlyn is a good pickup versus the Ezreal because her range is good, especially if you can dodge the poke coming out from Ezreal's Mystic Shock. She can sort of dominate that lane. I don't think we will be seeing a lane swap coming out here because Lee Sin doesn't do particularly well in that lane swap potential, and Jax does slightly better than him. Obviously, having the stun, he can synergize with the gank, and actually with the CC of Nautilus, they can usually look to get a kill on a lane switch lane. So I would be surprised to be seeing a lane switch coming out here. Overall, though, I've got to give the team comp over to Staffs. I just like it better if they can pull off their wombo combos. I think they'll have the better team fight. Obviously, they've got the Oriana going into with the Nautilus. If you can get a hook on a potential target that is squishy, you can go into the Oriana ultimate, then use his ultimate to chain CC. Jax can get a good stun off with his AoE stun, and the box coming out. It just synergizes a little bit better on the side of Staffs. However, again, on the side of Swagvicious, and I've talked about this time and time again, they have the ability to completely dominate their lanes with each of the pickups that they've picked up here. So the team fight from Staffs, if they get behind in lanes, will be completely useless. But we did see they had a strong laning phase last game against Manchester, who are arguably one of the best teams in our Super 8. So if they could perform similarly, I'd like to see how they play out and synergize in terms of taking global objectives this game. What do you think, Space?
Yeah, well, in accordance to this game, AJ Morgan has has said to me that there's going to be some mind blowing things away to happen. So I'm sure that the game's going to be very interesting. So uh, looking at the teams, it is going to be very, very good. Having an Oriana versus a Gragas, the matchup is very, very even. Oriana does have the advantage from level 1 to 5, although Gragas does have the level 6 advantage. When he does hit level 6, he usually looks to all in Oriana, getting that burst damage into her. So, on her, not into her, guys. Uh, so, she does have a lot of damage. Looking at the bottom lane, we do have Ezreal and Thresh. Thresh does have the good hook. He has a box, so he has got a lot of catch potential. Looking at the team overall, either side does have a lot of engage as well as disengage, a lot of mobility on both sides of the teams. So it's really hard to tell which team is going to have the superior team fight. But knowing Oriana, she is going to have that command shockwave available. So if she does manage to pick up a really good shockwave, it's going to be really difficult for Swagvicious to come back from such a good shockwave. So hopefully she does actually manage to get the items so that she does get a lot of damage out on there, like unlike last time where she didn't have enough damage, so she was only doing the shockwave dissonance and not actually, chunking people. She was only having a little bit of damage and then dying because she went the tier route. So hopefully, having like an Athene's or maybe going Leandries or such, like she will have a lot more damage coming into this game. So we've got
Yeah, and
25
she's
seconds left, so
yeah,
let's see how it
she's
goes.
she's chosen to pick up the barrier this game, which a lot of Oriana players opt to do because she has that long range poke with her ball into dissonance, etc. You shouldn't really, as an Oriana, be getting close enough to use the ignite, which I think is a very solid pickup versus the Gragas, and it does kind of counter the fact that he's picked up ignite early on. Um, if she can get her harass off early, she will have the potential to bully him out of lane. And the barrier at early levels negates the kill potential of Ignite. So I think it's a solid pickup for the Oriana right there. And I'm hoping to see her play this lane out really well. But I do know Kid Flares is very good on Gragas. So we'll have to see how the skill matchup comes here. But we are getting into game right now, guys. And as much as I love to see level 1 tactics, I don't know how aggressive either team is going to be because both Jarvan and Nautilus are very blue dependent. Um, and I don't know if the team on the side of Swagvicious will be looking to invade because the level 1 team from that is very strong.
Yeah, looking at the invade from both teams, they do have a lot of engage. Although I would actually give the level 1 team fight uh, over to Stash right now. They do have two hooks. They have CC, they have the vision, and Ezreal does a lot of damage early game. So they do have a lot of interrupt if they catch that one person out. So Swagvicious should look to group really early, be as close as possible, get some wards down so they don't get caught by any hooks coming into this. So I could imagine that Swagvicious will go for a defensive start, possibly starting blue buff to red buff to top lane. Uh, what do you think about this scoundrel?
Yeah, I think it would be silly for staffs not to attempt the invade because they do have such a potent level 1. But again, it can go wrong either way. Lee Sin has got very good early level damage because of his passive giving him attack speed on ability use. And also he has an AoE slow, which slows both movement speed and attack speed. So I don't know. It'll be very, very interesting to see which team does decide to play this out. Jax currently isn't actually bought in the items. He's a little bit slow off the mark. I'm not sure his team will be too happy about that because it's just going to delay their engage ever so slightly. But again, the CC does lie on the advantage of Stafford, and I think they are just going to protect their blue. It's not quite aggressive from the sub, or they could be moving over to Jarvan's red. I do think they realise that Jarvan will be going blue-red top and maybe looking to take away his red buff early on. However, it does look like Swagvicious are heading over just to see if anyone is in the Nautilus red area. And Nautilus is not opting to start his red, so he's not looking to go red-blue top. He's actually looking to stick around his blue area. And actually, like we said, both teams are just sort of playing this cautiously. And I think that's right because of how the importance of these kind of games right now. The level 1 tactics that we know can throw or lose, or win a game for you early on, and they're very risky to play them out unless you know exactly what you're doing and exactly where the other team is. But Swagvicious is just playing it very safe, sticking the ward out and taking the blue for Jarvan, and now Nautilus is moving around to his red. I think they were just conscious that Nautilus's blue was going to be invaded. A lot of Nautiluses do like to protect their blue because, again, he is a very blue-dependent jungler, a bit like a Mumu, but not in the sense that he's completely crushed without blue. But again, it does make his jungle very slow. He does kind of rely on having his abilities up to clear the jungle. He's not an auto-attack ability champion. He does have the lowest base attack speed in the game. So his jungle clear speeds are very, very slow without his abilities. He relies on the AoE damage from his shield, which you can see now coming out on the red buff. He's going to get a really good pull from his bot lane, and again, we are having no lane swaps, so this is going to be a standard 2v2, 1v1 and mid lane matchup here for you guys, which is good. It does mean that we're going to have a bit of action early on, and we're not going to see any boring sort of low farm lanes like you would see in a 2v1 situation.
What we
What are
are going
your
to see is right up in the top lane. Have you noticed that the buff's actually going to be happening here? We've seen Nautilus take red, going to blue, so we might actually have a really at the top.
Looks like a
Leeson,
really early engage from the Lee Sin, just managing to burn his ignite on the Jax, getting a Q and landing it up, but not finishing off. This Jax did start cloth 5 pot. Wow,
oh,
he's
this
overextending.
has to be a first blood right here.
He
There's
does
almost
go
no
for the
way.
stun, and the ignite comes out. Stun misses. If Lee Sin hits 2 right now, he can go in for the kill. No minions are going to die right now. Jax hits 2 before him. I think he's too low to do anything about it. Lee Sin goes in with the safeguard. Didn't pick up the Tempest. Misses his Q. Is just going to back off now. Now Nautilus is in the lane. Lee Sin has got his flash available. Jarvan is going to come in for the counter gank. If they focus the Jax here, I think he's going to die. But this is just going to be a very defensive 2v2 in the top lane right now.
Yeah, right there. Leeson should have possibly had flashed onto Jax when he had when he was still level 1 and he had managed to burn the ignite. If he managed to get the flash off and just got his resonating strike out there, could have been a first blood. But a lot of the pressure looking to put onto Jax early game, because Leeson does actually beat Jax in the early game up until about level 9. So the aggression really needs to be put down to Jax early, which is what Leeson was trying to do. So
Yeah, he actually started a very defensive level 2 spell, picking up that safeguard, maybe looking to get away from a gank that Nautilus is probably going to be in. But Jarvan is still sitting here. Jax has no flash. He does jump to a minion, jumps out of the EQ combo from Jarvan. Really well played, considering he has no flash, but he doesn't have a ward there, and he's still staying fairly aggressive. But Jarvan is not going to come back again. He's now going to try and put pressure on the map elsewhere. What we did miss, however, while we were talking about that, was that Gragas was ganked mid by Nautilus, and did get taken very low. Gragas has burnt his ignite already, and I think he burned that on the Orianna fairly early on, but right now he's actually losing the lane to an Orianna who still has all of her summoners up.
Alright, there in the top lane, Jarvan did go in, although he did miss his EQ, so he wasn't actually able to knock up Jax and get that proper gank off. So Jax is now free to farm again. I
First blood
just missed
going
a
onto the
first
bot lane.
blood down in the bot lane.
Nautilus coming into that bot lane. There were wards everywhere for Herbal side, so he did actually get a surprise gank off. Thresh getting a good hook, I think, and actually just taking down the Caitlyn. So she has to burn her flash and her cleanse, and that's all round a very good win for the bot lane in terms of Staffordshire. And this is why I was saying about their laning phase. They are notably strong in this point in the game. Really, really close fight up in the top lane. Jax being taken low, but Lee Sin is also incredibly low too. One Q combo from Lee Sin will finish the Jax off, but he does have his counter strike available also, so it's going to be very, very close. Jax actually choosing to back off. What I did want to point out in that top lane, however, was Lee Sin could have taken Tempest second and forced the Jax to slow down. He had no flash and then hit the Q combo onto him. So I think that was a poor choice for the Lee Sin to pick up Safeguard second. However, it didn't do him any detriment really, because he didn't die either. So again, now they're just going to start going slightly even, but Lee Sin has got a serious CS advantage on the Jax right now, doubling his CS at this point in the lane. Currently sitting on 30 to the Jax's 15, and that's probably not bad for Jax, because obviously Jax does have that weak early laning phase, which will be exploited by the Lee.
Yeah,
But
right there. It's just when Jax is that far behind, Lee Sin will have the advantage, but when you see Lee Sin going back right now, it really depends on what Lee Sin buys. If he goes defensive items, it means that he's not going to have a lot of damage. So he is going to have a lot of problems where if he needs to go something like a Hydra, he will be able to out sustain and out damage Jax for quite a majority of the laning phase. So hopefully we'll see him build quite intelligently here. But as you were saying, he should have got the cripple first. He didn't get that, so he was down a very good spell when it came to dueling. What he is doing now, though, he's maxing Tempest due to the attack speed debuff that it does bring with cripple. So there's a lot of magic damage that's AoE, and it's also all guaranteed to hit. So he's not wasting DPS by
looks like
missing
Nautilus
his
is
Q.
coming into the top lane. After that pause, he's going to get on to the Lee Sin, maybe just missing the hook. He does have Safeguard, and also has got Flash available. I think they are just going to back out of this one. Yeah, a lot of people don't expect Lee Sins to max that Tempest, so won't be expecting the damage spike that it gives them when going in. They'll be just looking to suffer, to try and survive that Q combo. I did want to pick out that First Blood did go over to Jorfas with the kill secure, playing again this kill carry support lane that he does like to play. With the Lulu, he picked up those 3 kills last game. So again, we've got a very Edward-esque support here. Kid Flare is ulting onto the Aria. He has turned 6 before she has turned 6, so he's going to get pulled in by the Gragas. I'm not sure that Nautilus wanted to pull him closer to Orianna. However, she did burn Flash, but not Barrier. So she's going to get away with that. I think she was possibly baiting the Barrier out here. She has now just hit 6. I think Gragas is going to have to be really, really careful right now. Again, though, she does have Barrier. Could possibly look to bait him in to just going a little bit harder than he should do at this point. Nautilus is sitting nearby, just clearing out those raids, so he could come and gank if things did go south for the Orianna. In this top lane again, Jack's being taken really low by the Lee Sin, not expecting the amount of damage that comes out from Tempest. Look at the damage. Does manage to get on. Lee Sin hits a Q. He does jump in with the kick and finishes him up with the Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike. Jax probably wasn't expecting that, and you've got to realise that Lee Sin's kick damage, very high base damage.
Yeah, the big problem there is that Jax shouldn't be fighting with Lee Sin right now. He should be looking just to farm up, try and get some items, and then once he has a Phage and a Sheen and maybe a Vamp Scepter, then he can start to fight Lee Sin.
Darwin coming into the bot lane, a great flay from Thresh, just forcing him back, and Kid Flare picks up the Orianna in mid lane, Lee Sin roaming down there. Great flay from Jorfast there, just to knock the Jarvan back as he EQ'd in, and Ezreal just escaping there, not having to burn anything in particular note. And Nautilus is now running into the bot lane. He hasn't picked up anything, hasn't even been back yet, only sitting on 22 CS. However, his level 5 Jarvan, on the other hand, also on a similar amount of CS, but has picked up his Spirit Stone, giving him that extra sustain. Nautilus just walking right around there, and there are no wards for Sona and Caitlyn right now. They're both level 5, not hit their level 6 skills right now, so there's no crescendo for the Sona, but Thresh has turned level 6. Ezreal picking up the kill on Caitlyn. Ignite comes down onto the Sona. Is she going to get away? No! Yes, the Ezreal ultimate just misses, but Thresh coming in with a flash flay and Ezreal finishing up with a mystic shot. Really well played right there from both members in the bot lane. And Jorfus just showing why he's such a very, very potent support. And AJ Morgan again with really good mechanical skills on his AD carry.
Yeah, right there. They managed to get exactly what they needed. They managed to get the 2 kills onto Ezreal to start getting him snowballed into this lane. He's going to be able to pick up the Phage and then possibly a Sheen. If we actually look at the gold, he could go back right now, buy up a Sheen and leave the Ruby Crystal and the Longsword as it is. Although, when most likely, he's just going to pick up the Sheen, get the Mana Crystal and the Amp Tome. So we are going to see a lot of damage coming out from Ezreal really soon. But
Yeah,
he
does
has
have
a substantial lead right now.
Yeah, he does get slight magic damage on his Q, as it does benefit from both bonus AP and bonus AD. And the his Arcane Shift actually comes in with scales off AP, so he's going to be doing a little bit more damage than he would have been doing. Does look like Nautilus is coming to the top lane. I think Lee Sin knew. He does just safeguard away. Nautilus not throwing his hook out yet, but Lee Sin doesn't have flash available. Root comes down. Jax does use Counter Strike. I think Lee Sin was going for the kick Sonic Wave, but the great Nautilus ultimate just forces Lee Sin not to do that, and Jax just picks up the kill, so that's going to be good for him in this lane.
Yeah, there was absolutely no wards in the top lane, so Lee Sin was easily ganked. He had a lot of... it seemed like Lee Sin just didn't want to get out straight away. Instead, he turned on to Jax and then hesitated. That was a really, really hesitant decision making from Lee Sin right there to do what he wanted to do. He either needed to turn around, kill Jax, or get out straight away. There needed to be one intention, just go for that one intention, rather than
And
halving
right now, Swagvicious are really suffering from poor warding, because that was the reason that the bot lane got killed, and that's also the reason the top lane just got killed then as well. Jarvan is really struggling just because of the amount of warding that has come out in really odd areas for at this point in the game, odd areas for Stafford. So he's really struggling to get good ganks off, and Nautilus is coming into this bot lane. If Jarvan chooses to go in here, there will be a Nautilus to try and counter gank him. Both of them are on the same items right now, but Nautilus has picked up 4 assists, so he's been involved in every single kill. There is a Lantern coming out, Ezreal clicks it, so Nautilus is not quite getting in there. Crescendo comes across, just hits the Thresh, but now the Gragas is coming down. Thresh is probably going to go down because Cataclysm did box him in. Kid Flare is just using his ultimate to finish off the kill right there. Orianna is coming down, but just a little bit too late. Probably should have pushed mid instead. Nautilus does look like he's going to go in for a hook. Who is he going to hook here? Just manages to back away. No one's going to go too hard on this bot lane, and actually that was a poor decision making from the Orianna to follow.
Yeah, definitely right there. What he wanted to do was just zone out the champions right there because he didn't really want to hook anyone. If he hooked anybody, he would have extended way too far. Being lower level than the Gragas, he would have been bursted down pretty quick by the three champions. So just walking out, using some abilities and just really just generally getting away from all of the aggression. It's a good decision to do such a thing.
Yeah, the Orianna, however, probably could have got a substantial amount of damage onto that mid lane turret had she stayed. I think Gragas was beating her to the mark. I don't think she could have made any impact at that point. She was making her way to the lane, so she should turn around and just push that mid lane turret. As it stands, though, Swagvicious picking up the advantage in that engage in bot lane and the kill going onto the Gragas, so he's now currently sitting at 2-0. Orianna a little bit behind of him, and she's also sitting at 20 CS behind, so Kid Flare is showing his really excellent Gragas play right here. However, in the top lane, Lee Sin now sitting 20 CS ahead of the Jax, but Jax is trying to freeze out the lane, and Lee Sin hasn't managed to get any more of an advantage over the top of him right now. One thing I do have to say about Jorf is he hasn't really been hitting his hooks. His flays have been on point, but his hooks have not quite been connecting. Does look like Lee Sin just using his Tempest to just damage out that Jax. Jax just getting a good trade with him right there. Lee Sin coming in with the safeguard, realizes that Lee Sin has Jax has nothing to Lee Sin has nothing to escape with now, and Lee Sin forced to use his kick to push him out and stop the engage. Right now, Jax is winning the lane.
Yeah, right now, this is when Jack starts to get scary. He's hit level 9, which is when he's supposed to start fighting back. So you're going to see the counter-strike coming on into Lee Sin right now.
Doesn't like he goes in, Jax caught out ever so slightly. Oh, great counter-strike, and he picks up the kill with his passive on his ultimate and the empowered strike right there. Really well played. I think Lee Sin was overestimating his damage. He has to realise that he hasn't max Q first. He doesn't have the same execute potential that a Lee Sin that max Q would have. He is maxing that Tempest, and once that Tempest wears off, Jax has the upper hand. And yeah. I think if he was looking to kill Jax, he should have maxed that Q.
I would disagree in a sense with that because the cons and pros of maxing Q in a top lane Lee Sin matchup, you're never going to hit your Q unless they misstep very hard. Having the Tempest, I believe the Tempest does about 240 damage. Or does 200 damage in an AoE. It's about 277 right now with his AD. And that's magic damage as well. So it actually makes it very hard to itemize against Lee Sin defensively because he does so much hybrid damage. Which is why
he also
has
to. He also has to realise that he doesn't have the same kill potential that a Lee Sin maxing Q would. It looks like he's engaging bot lane. Thresh with the great flay again onto the Caitlyn and uses the box, but I think Nautilus had just backed out and they couldn't follow up right there. Caitlyn not even having to use her cleanse, so that was a bit of a poor ultimate from Jorfast coming out there, but it doesn't matter too much. Nothing was lost or gained on either side, bar their ultimate cooldowns. No flashes were used either. I do think that... I do think that Jax does have the advantage against this Lee Sin now because Lee Sin doesn't have the same kill potential, and Lee Sin actually getting completely dominated, forcing to use his kick, and actually Jax just forcing him to use his flash as well, and unfortunately did manage to jump onto him and get that ignite before he used it, so that was a waste of a flash really from Lock-Easy right there. I do agree though. I think maxing Tempest on Lee Sin is good in a lot of matchups, and especially on an attack speed dependent champion such as Jax. But he hasn't been playing it the right way, and he's been going for the kill, sort of the low level kills, the low HP kills where he wouldn't have the damage that he would have from a Q, and has wasted his Tempest previously. So yeah, again, I think you agree in a straight matchup. I think a Tempest is a good level to max first, spell to max first. But I do think that in this situation, he hasn't been playing it. He's been playing it as if he's been maxing Q.
The problem is that Lee Sin as a top laner right now is just nowhere near as potent as any other top lane. You could play Renekton against Jax, and you can bully Jax out really early, purely just because he's Renekton. Having those high base damages and the cooldowns and not being attack reliant, you can completely outtrade Jax. But because Jax can come back at like even level 6 and do really well against Lee Sin.
Yeah, it does look like he has rotated bot, and they are going to take the dragon. No, Ezreal steals it with his ultimate. A great Orianna hitting 3 people. Gragas taken really low. Jarvan using his ultimate onto a couple of people. Great Gragas ultimate doing a ton of damage across the board. Doesn't look like Thresh is going to get caught out here. Ezreal is pretty high health, but is currently sitting on no mana, so he can't use his Mystic Shot. But that is a win for Staffordshire right there. Picking up the dragon and the smite coming out for Jarvan, just being outplayed by that Ezreal ultimate. And in the meantime, Jax is the time to take the inner turret from Swagvicious, and a chunk of global gold was just won over for Staff right there.
And meanwhile, top lane, Jax is away to probably go back right now, and he's going to pick up a Trinity Force because he has enough gold to do so. He's got
Yeah,
109. He's got 1,900 odd gold. He's
yeah,
going to be a very good Jax coming
yeah,
up.
so that was a really good pickup, and I agree actually. I think although Lee can do well against Jax in the top lane, he hasn't done well, and he's not probably one of the better picks these days because of the way the top lane works. And I do agree that Renekton is probably a better pickup against the Jax right now, and Renekton has more of a presence in that team fight. You can build him tanky, and his high base damages mean that he'll have the ability to dive on a carry and kill them. If you build Lee tanky, he doesn't have that same potential, and also the fact that Lee is building squishy means he's just going to get completely wrecked in these team fights and will be forced to come in late like a Katarina would. Yeah, I agree. I think this Lee was a bit of a poor choice for Swagvision. It does look like the bot lane are going to take away this bot lane turret. However, Caitlyn is coming back to just try and poke them out. Sona does have her ultimate up. Caitlyn does have everything up, bar her ultimate, which will be up in the next 10 seconds. But right now, Swagfish is doing, Stats are doing a good job of just building out Swagfish. A great flay coming out from Thresh. He's forced to use the box to try and get a bit of a kill. AJ Morgan picks up a kill on Sona. Gragas is ignoring the Ezreal, but gets the shutdown with an ultimate onto top of him. Doesn't mean he won't be able to force the Thresh back. Caitlyn uses her ultimate, and everyone is taken really low. Ignite comes down, body slam finishes him off, and again, Staffs, although losing that trade, responded well by forcing everyone onto that mid lane turret. And they take it away, actually. That's another chunk of global gold just for 2 kills in the bot lane, which I don't think is worth it. And wow, Lee Sin gets chunked half health by one move by Jax. A great flash counter strike, and he's forced away again. Jax picking up the kill. He has that Trinity Force and Vamp Scepter right now, so he's going to be doing extreme damage. No one reacting from Swag right now. Only Gragas and Sona coming over to try and stop them, push on this inner turret. They're not going to be able to do it, and they're going to take away this inner turret again. A big global gold advantage coming over to the side of Staffordshire right now, and bait tank on Jax. He is a monster.
Yeah, right now, what they actually plan to do, I believe that this was a preemptive strategy. I'm going to say it was a strategy that they were looking to see the Riven ban come through, and they knew that Loki's next champion of Comfort was Lee Sin. So they preemptively picked Jax, picking him straight up, and he knew that no matter what, he would probably pick up Lee Sin. So that was a really good guesswork onto Staff's part, just being able to pick up Jax, knowing that later on in the game they will have a lot of problems against Jax. And Lee Sin, if he doesn't get ahead early game, it's going to be a huge problem for the teams. So really, really good idea to get the Jax. And once he gets the advantage, he did manage to get ahead, so really well done for that.
Yeah, and 2 Trinity Forces being picked up on the side of Staffordshire right now. And a Bilgewater Cutlass coming out from the Jax, looking to go for that Blade of the Rune King Trinity Force build, which is extremely deadly on the Jax. You know how Jax works, you're a big Jax player, Space, and you know that once he finishes that Blade of the Rune King, there's not a lot on the side of Swagvicious that will be able to stop him.
Yeah, well,
Ezra's going pretty hard onto the Caitlyn. Everyone is collapsing on it. Ifrit's going to get taken down by the Ezra right here. AJ Morgan, same score as Jax, 4-1-1. And those are the 2 most deadly carries on their side right now. Even if Orianna hasn't been particularly fed, Jax and Ezreal are, and that's just really bad news for Swagvicious.
Yeah, the kills have went over to the people who need it, and the people who have died are the ones who they didn't need who they didn't want to die. So this game is looking extremely difficult now for Swagvicious to come back. It seems like Staffs may just end up winning this game purely because of their champions and the team composition that they have went for.
Yeah, and unfortunately Gragas, although he is 4-0, he has no one else in his team that can help back him up. And if Gragas is going to get focused down, which is very possible because they have a high CC team on the side of Swagvicious, just like Lee Sin gets his Q onto Jax, he's going to have to be forced into back out. I think they were looking to take the engage on the low life Staffshire. They are waiting around the dragon area. I think they might have slightly mistimed it because it is 1 minute till it comes back up, so they're just going to choose to back out. I think they may have realised at this point. I think they're going to gear up for a dragon now because they took the first one with an Ezreal ult steal, which is perfectly timed. And now that they're stronger, I think they can afford to force the fights. Doesn't
Yeah,
sorry, carry on here.
that's what's gonna happen. It's having these global objectives happening 30 seconds to dragon spawning, even though it says it's right up now. Uh, they do believe that the dragons are going in the way of the staff's favor right now. So is turret advantage. Global gold is huge. There's about a 5,000 gold lead, but right now it just seems like no matter what kind of fight that Swagvicious is going to try and go for, uh, it seems like staffs always are going to have the advantage right now, unless they pick up someone unless they pick up someone off like Ezreal or Jax. It's going to be really difficult for them to win team fights, or unless maybe staffs gets extremely greedy. It's just not looking very bright for Swagvicious at this point in the game.
Yeah, and now that Ezreal is working towards his bloodthirst, Caitlyn has picked up her Infinity Edge, so at least she'll be doing slight amount of damages, but Lee Sin has only got a Ravenous Hydra and a pickaxe, and the problem with the fact that the way he's built, he's only sitting on around 1,600 HP. Jax could completely destroy that amount of HP in a matter of seconds, and the fact is that Lee Sin doesn't have the damage to go in and assassinate someone and then just die. Because that's what a lot of Lee Sins who play AD do. They get into a position where they can completely one-shot a carry, and then that's their job done. If they can survive, even better, but if they can't, whatever, they've killed the carry. Lee Sin just doesn't have the damage to do right now, and I think he's going to go into the Ravenous Hydra split push mode. Does look like Staffs do know how to react to this, though, and are going to force down this mid lane. Dragon has been taken away. So they've taken that off the map. Just like Caitlyn's out of position, and Nautilus knows it. She has got no flash right now. She has got flash, sorry, so she will be able to escape if she needs to be. And now they're just going to rotate round for this mid lane turret. There isn't enough people around to stop her. Caitlyn actually thinks she's still being chased, backs away a little bit further than she probably needed to. She's going to be late to this fight, gets a catch onto Java. No one wants to go into it. They just want to take the turret down. Are they going to take this inhibitor? Yes, it looks like they're going to go around for it. Lee Sin has got home guards. However, I don't know if anyone is going to engage here. He gets a Q onto the Jax. I think Swagvicious is just too scared, and Staff is doing a really good job of upsetting our leaders of the group.
Yeah, I think it was just maybe the overconfidence from Swagvicious picking some champions that they
Looks like
thought
ult
would
comes
suit
onto
fine.
Sona. She forces to flash away. Everyone's just going to back up from this. Gragas ult. Jax gets jumped into the middle. He jumps out of the Cataclysm. Lee Sin coming in, taking the kill onto Blockhead on Nautilus. Everyone taking a reload. Caitlyn is going to flash, try and take out the rush. She does. Great Orianna ultimate onto the Jax. He survived for so long having that Vamp Scepter. It looks like Ezreal is jumping through, jumps onto the Gragas. He uses barrier. He's going to take down this Jarvan. I think Caitlyn with the Infinity Edge is going to finish him off. The barrier tried to come out from the orange. She uses her 50 caliber net to jump onto her. Just flashes out of the Q from Caitlyn, and I think everyone's just going to back off. All told and done, 4 for 4.
Yeah, right there. That was a really good engage from Jarvan and Gragas. They managed to get the exploding casket to get Jax into tower range. The Cataclysm did come out. Even though Jax did leap strike out of the Cataclysm, they still put a lot of damage out onto the entire team, and mostly onto Jax. So he was quite low, and it wasn't until later on when Orianna came back in was that Jax was able to jump in and get the command shockwave from Orianna onto the enemy team, and Caitlyn really proving that she actually does have some damage. Ezreal wasn't able to set 1v1, even though Ezreal was lower on health. Ezreal still had to respect the power that Caitlyn was pumping out at that point in time.
Yeah, Infinity Edge is really brutal when you have no armor, and I have to point out there, if you look back at that fight, Sona actually ulted minions. She actually threw her ult out on no one. I don't even know. I think she may have been expecting herself to flash or something, or get into a position, because she just flashed and there was an ult onto absolute nobody. But that's better for Imperial right now. And Gragas has now finished his Rabadon's death cap, so he is going to be pretty strong right now because he's 4-1-4. That was his first death of the game, and Lee Sin actually managing to get a bit of gold from picking up 2 kills or 1 kill that team fight. So he played that really well as well. But that could have gone completely south for Staffs if it wasn't for an absolutely fantastic 4-man counter-strike from the Jags into an Orianna ultimate, and then Ezreal picking up 2 kills on the end of that.
Yeah, right now we actually see Jax actually went back and got a lot of items right now. He does have
Looks
a
like they're
giant
going to jump
spell.
onto the Jax. He's going to get forced away by the Jarvan. Lee Sin has got his Q. He's not going to follow it up. And I think that's just going to force Jax back. But he has got... Oh, Gragas ultimate coming onto the Nautilus. Lee Sin doesn't follow up the Q. I think he's pretty scared. Jarvan uses his Cataclysm. Nautilus flashes out there. Jax goes in. Great Orianna ultimate. 5 members picked off by the Orianna ultimate. Ezreal comes across. Great positioning from the Ezreal ultimate. And I think there's a bit of a flash. Jarvan, Gragas getting taken down by the Jax. And the only 2 members remaining alive right now are half health Lee Sin and a quarter health Caitlyn, and I think this is going to be another inhibitor taken down. And Ezreal coming in from the side, picking Caitlyn off with a Mystic shot onto her with red buff. He is going to flash, a Mystic onto her. Just manages to pick up both Lee Sin and Caitlyn. This could be game. Wow, my play-by-play is terrible. Sorry, guys, I'm a color caster.
Both color casters play by play. Oh no.
I don't. I play-by-play and me. I'm awful at it. But yeah, that's going to be game going over to Staffs right there. And to be honest, their laning phase was so strong. Like I
Yeah,
said it would be, and they just managed to snowball that out, and they played it so much better than they played that Manchester game.
it was a really good Orianna ult right in the middle of the
Yeah.
WWE team, getting a 5-man Orianna ult, and Jax just being in the middle of the team where he needed to be, and really Jax just got too far ahead. Like, if you're going to play someone like Lee Sin, something like Jax, sure you're going to get ahead of him early game, but he's going to come back, and if you don't have any kind of return against Jax, he's just going to mop your team, and that's exactly what happened. They just managed to get that early bot lane advantage. They got the early top lane advantage, and that just really snowballed into the team fights later on. We see a 9-2 Ezreal, 6-2 Jax. It just these 2 champions just getting all the kills and all of the CS, just really becoming a huge threat on the enemy team. So really well played to Staffs and to Swagvicious for that. But really, it was a great idea to get that Jax out there and really push ahead of an advantage when he got one.
Yeah, and to be honest, everyone played so well on the side of Staffordshire, and Jax, and Thresh in that bot lane with some great flays. His hooks in the early game weren't on point, but his hooks in the late game really, really powerful. Picking off some dodgy boxes, but then some brilliant boxes. And that Orianna, despite going behind to the Gragas, her shockwaves were brilliant across every team fight that I saw. At least 3 members being caught out every time she opted to use it, and using the Jax as the ball delivery system is fantastic. Gets that counter strike into leap strike, and then the Orianna ultimate, locking everyone down as they're stunned. That was absolutely fantastic. Honestly, brilliant play and team synergy from Staffs, and I just wish we'd seen that a bit more from them because that's their first win. But if they play like that, they can completely dominate.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a shame that the fact that they haven't really played together very often, so they don't have the synergy quite there. So we need to see how they develop in later on weeks.